Josie again to continue on about the table saw. We talked about ripping and what was this thing called again? For cross cutting? Oh, miter gauge. So I'll put the miter gauge away. It goes under here. There's a little sponsor. The rip fence is here. We talked about doing these short boards, long boards. What if I need to cut a board? What if I need to cut a board that is long? Luckily, we have the saw here. We've got the little extension table. If you have a really long board, sometimes you need somebody to help taper it off. What they mean by a taper off person or a catch tail person is when the board's coming out, somebody's going to help balance the end of it. All they're doing is balancing the end. They're not pulling on it. They're not grabbing it. All they're doing is balancing the end. So they never grab it, never pull it. The operator does all the work on it. Another thing I want to look at is you need to make sure they have a straight edge and a flat face on it. So there's a straight edge on this side. This side you can see probably has a rough edge on it. Of course, you don't want to keep that for your project, so that would be the part away from the fence. And then your straight flat edge is facing down. So again, if I want to measure how wide I need my board, if I need a 6-inch wide board, I'm going to measure 6 inches between the fence and the inside of the saw blade again. That way it's not too short, because again that saw blade is 1/8 of an inch wide or thick. So I'm going to lay this out of the way. I didn't really talk about hearing protection earlier. They've got earbuds you can wear, protect your hearing. For most school shops, they're not required. The reason for that is we're only using a saw at the most. Even if you're there the entire 45 minutes of class period, you're not going to be using a saw. If I worked at a cabinet shop, company where the saws were running all day, or I was using one, I would definitely want hearing protection. But for the minute or so during class period, you're okay without it. But it is available if you do want it. So hearing protection is available, just not required like the safety glasses. Thing to watch out again when you're cutting, you'll see me cutting this board. You'll see me keeping it flat on the table. If I try to lift up or down with it, see the fence there, you can see the layers, but I want to make sure I'm not out this way or out this way. So I'm keeping it flat against the fence, sliding in, making my cut, and then I'll push it past the table. This board we're cutting 6 inches wide, so do I need push sticks? No, since it's over 6 inches, I don't need push sticks. So I'm going to turn the saw on, let it reach full speed. Come back here, I'll line this up. Pushing it past the saw blade, using a slow and steady speed range. And again, I've got a board to cut to exact width, straight all the way down, relatively easy and quickly. So I'll slide this back here out of the way. This piece is cut 6 inches wide, which is what we'll need for our project base and top. Always want to keep a clean work area, clean floor area. You see the tape on the floor, need to replace that. It's called a safety zone. The only people that should be in that safety zone is when the saw is running as the operator, or if you have a tail off person that's helping catch on the tail end. That way there's no chance of getting somebody pushed, bumped, hit into the saw. If you're making any adjustments on the saw, always make sure the power is turned off. Again, that way there's no way of it turning on while you're working. A few things you can change on here. I'm going to raise this up so you see it. As you can raise the blade up and down. If you look in the front, there's a wheel that says blade elevation. This wheel right here in the front in the center, always remember is just right in front of the blade. If you turn it, you'll see the blade raise up and down. So right now it's coming up, so I can do a thicker piece of wood if I needed to. Or it lowers down the other direction to get the height. The center knob locks it in place so that way it doesn't vibrate while the saw is running. If you look here at an angle, there's another wheel just like it on this side. If I loosen this center knob, and if you can see the blade when I turn it, you're going to see it turn at an angle. So you can cut up to a 45-degree cut or angle on this board you're cutting just by rotating the blade to the saw. There's a scale right here that tells you what angle you're at also when you're cutting. So when I turn over here, you can see it. It tells me what degree I have the angle cut at. Of course, I'm going to straighten it back up to 90 degrees because 90 degrees is straight up and down. But if I wanted a 45-degree cut, I could trim it to 45. I'm going to turn this one back to get it straight. And then I'm going to tighten my center lock knob to tighten it back up so it doesn't move on us while we're cutting. The way the power switch works on this one is a little different. I said earlier it had the safety system on it. There's a switch here. You see the green light right now? That means it's on, but I'm going to turn it off. So right now the power is off to the saw. The circuit breaker's still on, but the power's off to it. If I turn the switch on, it starts off red, then it goes green. Green means that it's okay to start. To start it, you pull out on the stop switch. Of course, turn it off, you push in. The cool thing about this saw is it does have the safety system. If I touch the blade right now, it wouldn't cut me, it'd stop. The way I know it's working is if you can see the lights here when I touch it with my fingers. See how it started flashing red? If I let go, it's going to clear out and go green again. So it won't even let me turn the saw on when I'm touching it. So the way it works, it picks up the electrons in your body, something conductive. So if I come in contact with it, it's automatically going to lock the blade up in 3 milliseconds, or it won't cut you. I've seen some videos they show on their website, sawstop.com. They use a hot dog to show because no one wants to get their hand cut. It's still going to cut your hand a little bit like cutting with a knife. But it's not like you're cutting your whole arm off, or not your arm, your whole hand off, or all your fingers. So I still treat it just like it doesn't have it, just like my car has an airbag in it, but I'm not going to risk running into a brick wall or something thinking, oh, it's got an airbag, I'll be fine. I still pretend it doesn't have it. Most saws don't have this. It's just the SawStop brand that developed and came out with it about 10 years ago. So keep in mind, if you're using a table saw, most likely it does not have that safety system on it. Okay, we will conclude part 2 at this point and come back to part 3 here in a little bit.